the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
It's midday. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Adjuatin Kramadomina. Coming up, 2024 media budget presentation receives mixed reactions as consumer advocacy group CATS International cautions government against creatively taking money through the reintroduction of road tolls.
Government should not use creative means of taking money from Ghanaians because it needs money to balance it.
Also, members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAC, today meet the Education Ministry over issues resulting in their ongoing strike.
We have a meeting at the instance of the Minister of Education. I'm already in Accra together with my team, and then we listen our boots for that meeting.
Still in this bulletin, Binduri Member of Parliament accuses opposition National Democratic Congress of orchestrating an attack on an NPP-branded vehicle.
They go to radio stations and those threats are issued by various leaders of our opponents. The NDC, yes, the NDC.
And later in the bulletin, Africa Education Watch accuses government of over-focusing on the free senior high school policy at the detriment of basic education in Ghana.
If you have free senior high school increasing the cost of education share of the education money, the meaning is that you have very little money for capital investment, which is CAPEX, which means you can only build a few schools.
We have details of these and more stories coming your way in the next half. Remember, this bulletin is live on Facebook and on YouTube on Citi 97.3 FM across the world. We are live on citinewsroom.com. In the country, we are also live on a number of affiliates in the Western region. This is Premier 100.5 FM in Takrade. In the Bunu region, Green at 95.9 FM in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, this is Holy 98.5 FM in Apalao. In the Northern region, Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi. If you're in the Upper East region, this is Word 88.3 FM in Zuarungu. And in the Upper West region, this is Bugli Radio 88.6 FM in Wa. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful for your company this afternoon. Let's begin from the aftermath of the media budget presentation. And the consumer advocacy group CATS International is calling on the government not to shortchange Ghanaians by taking road tolls and e-levy concurrently. The government, during the presentation of the media budget yesterday, says it is establishing a framework for the reintroduction of road and bridge tolls in 2025, despite retaining the collection of the electronic transfer levy, which among other purposes was to help fix issues on Ghana's roads. Now, speaking to Citi News, West African Director of CATS International, Apia Kusiadumako, expressed doubt about the revenue generated being used for the intended purposes, adding that it will put additional tax burden on Ghanaians.
By seeing the e-levy and at the same time bringing the road toll, I think will be a lot of tax incidents on Ghanaians. Of course, we do understand the crisis we find ourselves now as a nation. We are currently on IMF emergency room, whereby we need more oxygen of taxes to be able to resuscitate the economy. But the question I also want to give it as ourselves again, the revenue that's going to accrue from the new road toll is going to find its way in fixing and maintaining roads. That'll be good enough. But I am a bit doubtful because already when you buy a fuel, I think about 6% of every liter of fuel that you buy at the pump goes fund the road fund, and that road funds are not being used to fix the potholes and the gullies that have littered on our roads. Look at what is on the Temamoto way. So I think government is trying to use all means to collect money. But if the money that government is collecting will, in the long run, fit what they want to collect, that is fine. But government should not use creative means of taking money from Ghanaians because it needs money to balance inputs.
You have the West African Director of CATS International, Apiakusi Adomako. Let's stay on some reactions to the budget. Now, the Africa Education Watch has reviewed that government's heavy investment in its flashy free senior high school policy has restricted funding for infrastructure projects. The Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, announced in the mid-year budget that the government has so far spent 9.9 billion cedis on 5.7 million beneficiaries since its commencement. But Executive Director of Africa Education Watch indicates that more than 90% of the amount allocated to free SHS went into recurrent expenditure.
You find that some district education officers have their lights off the whole year, no light because they can't pay the. You find that some district education officers cannot afford fuel and stationery, and they are always at the mercy of engine. It is because that space is constricted due to the dominance of the second expenditure. So there are various dimensions of the implications of having about an average of 90% of your goods and services at the line going to free senior high school. But again, I must say that free senior high school obviously increased the goods and services share of the education budget. But what does that mean? If you have free senior high school increasing the goods and education share of the education budget, look at the education budget, 70% goes into salary. So you have only 30%. And the meaning is that you have very little money for capital investment, which is CAPEX, which means you can only build a few schools. And that is why if you look at the trend in expenditure, education expenditure over the period, you realize that capital expenditure has hardly crossed 10%.
Well, Kofi Asare also revealed that the neglect of funding for infrastructure has negatively affected basic school in the country.
If you have free senior high school increasing the goods and education share of the education budget, the meaning is that you have very little money for capital investment, which is CAPEX, which means you can only build a few schools.
Meanwhile, the Executive Director of Africa Education Watch has expressed doubts about a potential review of the existing free senior high school policy. While the two leading political parties, his comment came amidst assurances from the flag bearers of the National Democratic Congress and the New Patriotic Party to maintain, review and improve the implementation of the free senior high school policy and resolve its associated challenges. However, speaking on the Citi Breakfast Show, Kofi Asare said his discussions with the manifesto committees of both parties reinforce his assertion.
Unfortunately, I don't see any of the parties doing any review. Having engaged the manifesto committees of the major parties, I don't see any review happening in the next 4 years. They are going to maintain it in the current form. And so that is one. In view of that, I want to see, because any review that will lead to cost reduction or cost efficiency on government budget and promotes equitable spending within the protected space, it's not a review for me. And so I don't see that happening from our engagement with the MPP manifesto committee and also the manifesto committee. So within that context, I see the only way out to be government increasing its own expenditure to education beyond the current levels we are seeing. If you look at the expenditure trend, we are still not spending enough on education when it comes to our international commitment. And so there's space for us to increase we are doing less than 4% of our GDP. We are doing just about 3.5% of GDP.
You heard the Executive Director of Education think tank, Africa Education Watch. His name is Kofi Asare. Let's bring you some other stories now away from the budget. And members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, have withdrawn all services in response to the government's decision to freeze their July salaries. CTAG members have been on strike for over a month due to the government's failure to implement agreed upon arbitral orders aimed at improving their conditions of service. this strike has severely impacted all the 46 colleges of education across the country, halting academic activities. Now, speaking to Citi News, CTAC President Prince Obenhima noted that a meeting has been scheduled with the Ministry of Education today to seek a resolution to the matter.
Any attempt to block our salary will be deemed lawless, and then we won't accept it. So we are going to marshal all the forces to resist that attempt. So that is where we are at the moment. Today, we have a meeting at the instance of the Minister of Education. He directed the GTEC to call for that meeting, but the minister is chairing it at the Ministry of Education's conference room at 2 p.m. I'm already in Accra together with my team, and then we laden our boots for that meeting. So we're hoping, we are not just happy staying home, except that the right thing has to be done. The entire staff have to be migrated. All the other items on the arbitral awards have to be implemented so that we can go back to the classroom.
That was the president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, Prince Obenhima. You do well want to stay with 97.3 FM for details of that engagement. Now, away from that story, the Member of Parliament for Binduri, Abdullahi Abanga, has accused the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, of orchestrating an attack on the new Patriotic Party branded vehicle in his constituency. On Monday, 3 masked individuals allegedly doused the MP's campaign vehicle with petrol, shot at it, and set it on fire. Abdullahi Abanga, speaking to Citi News, claims the incident is politically motivated and fulfills threats previously made by his political opponents.
It's politically motivated because they didn't take any valuable things from the past. For some time now, we've been hearing threats from our political opponents. So this is just a manifestation of the threats that they've been issuing. There's been audios threatening people not to campaign for the new Patriotic Party, to support the party, particularly our flag bearers. They go to radio stations, and those threats are issued by various leaders of our opponents. The NDC, the leadership in the constituency here, several. When we're doing the voter registration exercise, they were always at the EC office there. They are masked there from their parliamentary candidates, their former chairman, they are all kinds of people with macho men. They were always there. And they were now people who were selecting who should go and be allowed to register or not to register. The signals were there. And the threat, they say it openly. We have intelligence on the ground. And what is intelligence? That they know that they will not be able to succeed if they don't capitalize on the Boko conflict and threaten people.
That's a Member of Parliament for Binduri, Abdullahi Abanga. However, NDC's Upper East Regional Communications Director, Abdallah Salifu, denies the party's involvement in the incident. The party refutes these accusations and called for investigation into the matter.
Condemn whatever happened, and we commemorate with the family of the constituency chairman and members of the MPP. But we want to state categorically that we, members of the National Democratic Congress in the Binduri constituency, have no hand whatsoever in the burning of the vehicle. We as NDC have been embarking on very decent and peaceful campaign within the jurisdiction of Binduri. We are mindful of the fact that Binduri is not far from Boku, and Binduri used to be part of Boku Central, and we are mindful of the fact that the whole of that enclave is still under curfew and has been a bit stable not quite too long ago. So because of that, we carry on our campaign activities with a lot of decorum. We have no hand in it. We will not do such a thing. We know we are winning the seat by the grace of God by embarking on a very clean campaign. And whoever has a hand in this unfortunate act, I think the law agencies, be it the police, the national security, the NIB, should intensify their investigations and get the perpetrators brought to book. And I'm surprised that the Member of Parliament, who doubles as the Deputy Minister for Local Government, will go straight away to make accusations.
Abdallah Salifu is the Upper East Regional Communications Director of the National Democratic Congress. Now, the new Patriotic Party's parliamentary candidate for the Aguna East constituency, Hannah Samoa, says the summoning of 8 individuals over the removal of her billboard will not affect her chances in the 2024 elections. The 8, including the regent of Mankrong Junction, Nana Abebio II, were dragged to the Aguna Suedro Magistrate Court by the party, where they were each granted a bail of 10,000 cedis. They were also directed to mount the billboard to ensure peace and tranquility. However, the NPP's parliamentary candidate Hannah Asamoah says the action in the Mankrong area will not affect the fortunes of the party.
The issue of the billboard, it has been like a festival for the sitting MP, because every election year she has been contracting some people from this very town, Mankrong Junction, to pull down some posters and billboards of our candidates. So this time, I see it to be like one of her usual things that she has been doing. So for the elders, they've seen the wrong that they did. So I don't think they will raise this issue to that far.
And you think it's not going to affect your campaign within the...
Not at all.
NPP parliamentary candidate for the Aguna East constituency, Hannah Asamoah, speaking to Central Regional correspondent Calvis Tete. You're listening to the Citi Prime News. When we return, the Ghana Tourism Authority announces plans to redevelop key tourist site with immediate focus on historic slave routes. We'll bring you the details of this and other stories. Please stay with us.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
Channel 1 TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on Channel 363. On GoTV, we're on Channel 117. And on HD+, get us on Channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search. But take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Channel 1 TV. Channel 1 TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box, like the DSTV and HD+ boxes. Channel 1 TV. Telling your story, empowering change.
The entries have been received and the marking has begun. Who makes it to the next round of the Literacy Challenge 2024? Randomly selected entries will be read on 97.3 Citi FM on Brunch in the City and the Traffic Avenue, and on Breakfast Daily on Channel 1 TV. Stay tuned to 97.3 Citi FM and Channel 1 TV to find out who makes it to Level 2 of the Literacy Challenge. Level 2, Aptitude Test. The top 50 contestants from across Ghana to make it to the next round shall take part in a written aptitude test on Saturday, 27th July 2024 at 12 p.m. at the Accra Digital Center. Grand finale. The top 10 contestants chosen from Level 2 shall compete for the grand prize of 10,000 Ghana cedis in a classic quiz competition on Saturday, 17th August 2024. The Literacy Challenge 2024 is powered by Citi FM, supported by Channel 1 TV, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company, Alive Soap. Feel fresh, feel alive. From the House of Wilmer Africa Limited, Fortune Spread for Bread, yummy, delicious, always on point. Another quality product from Wilmer Africa Limited. Ruby Biscuits by M4 Foods and Prospectus Ghana Limited.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connect you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back to the Citi Prime News. Let's bring you some other stories now. The Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association has commended plans by the government to broaden the tax base by introducing 2,000 taxpayers onto the electronic value-added tax system. During a presentation of the 2024 mid-year budget review, the finance minister noted the initiative is expected to be implemented by the end of the year. In an interview with Citi News, a public relations officer for the association, Techiadu, believes the move will enable the government rake in more revenue.
A lot of people
people are doing business in this country. They are not paying tax. Only few are paying the tax. That's the reason why the tax is being increased day by day. Now, when you target a lot of people, or at least majority of Ghanaians to be on the tax net, government will make a lot of revenue out of that. Now, we need a lot of projects we need to the government to execute in this country. But because the government always rely on external donors, now we need to use funds in this country. You see, they need to get funds. So if the government is going to broaden the tax net so that 2,000 people will be on the tax net, I think it's the right direction, of course. So far as you are doing business, you need to pay your tax. Nonetheless, the government also needs to make business attractive in this country.
Techiado serves as a public relations officer for the Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers Association, let's say on taxes, and tax analyst Geoffrey Kabute Okanse says he is not surprised at the government's failure to remove several taxes criticized by the business community. He noted that while expectations were high for the removal of these taxes, such as the COVID-19 levy, the e-levy among others, the government's decision to maintain these levies align with broader fiscal strategies.
I didn't expect any new taxes. I didn't expect them removing the e-levy. I didn't expect also for them to remove some of the taxes, he said. I mean, because, clearly, if there were signs in our meetings with them early on, they would have showed signs of, bringing something new. But there's one thing they also spoke about, the rollout of the second phase. That's looking at the e-VAT invoicing. They're going to bring about 2,000 more companies on board. They also spoke about the reduction in irregularities. It's not just about reducing the irregularities, it's also about recouping my money. I told you that I want to get the money for the early irregularities, tax and cash that happened, over the period of 5 years. If you came back to tell me, look, you recouped X amount of money from those ones that were stolen from me, that is what also would be very encouraging.
Geoffrey Kabute Okanse is a tax analyst. Moving on now, the Ghana Tourism Authority has announced plans to redevelop key tourist sites in the country, focusing on the historic slave routes. As part of this initiative, several notable sites such as the Picaro Slave Camp, the Salaga Slave Market and the castles will undergo rehabilitation. This effort aims to honor the courage and culture of African ancestors and the diaspora. Now, during a Durbar of Chiefs in the Upper East region as part of the 2024 Emancipation Day celebrations, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwasi Agyeman, emphasized the need for Ghana to embrace the Emancipation Day celebrations as an opportunity to showcase the country's tourism potential to the global community.
We are excited that at least Emancipation is now not just an Accra, Asin Manso and Cape Coast celebration. Now we're starting from the northern part of Ghana where the real story started, at the Picoro Slavery Camp and also at Salaga Slavery Market and the Wells. Thankfully, these have been rehabilitated, and we know that going forward, it will all be part of one complete story. It's important that we take steps to ensure that our brothers and sisters who are coming back to the motherland feel the true story of what happened. And so we embarked upon this Slave Roots project where we are rehabilitating and reshaping all the various touch points, starting with Salaga, Picoro here, there's work ongoing, and then we go all the way down to Bono Manso, Asin Manso, Asin Praso, to Amina and Cape Coast. We want the true story to be told, and we want ourselves as Ghanaians to understand the real story. Our history has not been told the way it ought to be because it was dictated by those who enslaved us. So now is the time for us to really tell the story of the slave trade and tell the story of our colonization.
Akwasi Agyeman is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority. Meanwhile, President of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs, Chiana Pio Per Ditwandini Adiali Ayangtim III, on his part urged the country to use Emancipation Day as a moment of reflection and dedication to heritage and a brighter future.
As we reflect on the theme of this year's celebration, unity and resilience, building stronger communities for a brighter future, let's continue to dedicate ourselves to the cause of heritage and vow never to allow the dark days to reoccur now or in the near future. We encourage everyone to never give up in the fight against all forms of discrimination in the 21st century. There is no space for any form of discrimination on the basis of either race, color, sex, language, religion, or where they were born. Let's use this Emancipation Day to celebrate our diverse cultural heritage. Let's dance to our wonderful music interlaced with drumming, and let's sing songs of peace, unity and transformation as we continue to mark this Emancipation Day across our communities in Ghana and beyond.
Pedi Twandini Adialia Young Tim III is the president of the Upper East Regional House of Chiefs. Now, the Bureau of Public Safety has called on the National Road Safety Authority to focus on significantly reducing the rate of road accidents in the country. The Road Safety Authority, in its half-yearly report, indicated that incidents of reported road crashes, vehicles involved, persons killed and persons injured, all decreased in 2024 as compared to the same period of June 2023. Rather, January to June 2023. Now, despite records of improvement, the Bureau contends that there was no deliberate action from the authority which resulted in these improvements. Executive Secretary of the Bureau, Dr. Nanaya Akwada, tells Citi News that the NRSA should step up measures, especially as Ghana enters the election season, to prevent fatalities associated with careless driving.
The National Road Safety Authority must tell us the exact interventions they put in place to change driver behavior and to improve road experience for all users. In order to justify the marginal improvements that we are seeing, they must tell us how they and other players influenced this first 6 months report. Then we know they know what they are doing. If they know what measures have yielded the kind of marginal improvement we are seeing, bingo. The challenge, however, will be that this year is an election year. In the coming days, there's going to be a lot of crisscrossing across the country. They must step up those same measures and ensure that in January 2025, we will come here and commend them for knowing and actually doing their job. In today's Ghana, I can bet that there's not a chance to come across any household that does not have a road traffic crash victim or that does not know a road traffic crash victim dead or injured. And it is scary. It places a huge burden on the National Road Safety Authority, and the institution must begin to work with goals, tangible objectives, specific targets with timelines, and bring us credible results that can be sustained.
You heard Executive Secretary of the Bureau of Public Safety, Dr. Nanaya Akwada. Now, the planned second protest to demand the removal of the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, and his 2 deputies has been rescheduled. The demonstration, originally set for July 30 by the minority in Parliament, will now take place on August 13. In a letter to the police on Tuesday, July 23, the minority caucus explained that the change was due to the launch of the National Democratic Congress's 2024 campaign in Tamale, scheduled for July 27. The minority indicated that many of its members would be attending this campaign launch, which will leave them with insufficient time to prepare for the protest. Now, this letter to the police further stated that a planned route and time for the protest will not change. Now, Finam Industries has paid a courtesy call on the Gamanje in Accra to introduce its latest product line, Piva Beverages, to the Royal. The visit highlights the company's dedication to building strong relationships with local leaders in enhancing their market penetration and sustainability. In an interview with Citi News, Director of Finam Industries, Frank J. Mensah, expressed his outfit's commitment in fostering strong community ties and celebrating this new journey.
Today we decided to pay a courtesy call on the Gamanje, who is the landlord of the Ghana traditional area, to showcase our product to him for his blessing, to push it within the Ghana community and outside the country. We've seen the work that he's doing, and I believe that Finam want to partner with him to push the product nationwide. So that's our simple mission here. So the end goal is for every Ghanaian household to have Piva beverage as part of their drinks every day that they take. The whole idea is that the good work that is doing now, we want to partner him to push the product everywhere, especially within the Ghana communities.
You heard Director of Finam Industries, Frank A.J. Mensah, ending today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studio in Adabraka, Accra. But before we go, let's take a relook at our headlines. A media budget presentation receives mixed reactions as consumer advocacy group CATS International cautions government against creatively taking money through the reintroduction of road tolls. We also brought to you members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana meeting the Education Ministry today over issues resulting in their ongoing strike. And Member of Parliament for Binduri accusing the opposition National Democratic Congress of orchestrating an attack on a new patriotic party branded vehicle. We have more stories if you log on to citynewsroom.com. My name is Ajuatin Krama Domina. Thank you so much for your company. Enjoy the rest of your day.
City News, we speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get interactive on Facebook, City 97.3 FM, and on Twitter at City 973.